right. All right. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's see what's good. Good morning, Put, Gino, Jomar, Snows, George, Aramis, Karen. Let's see. Steve, good morning. Wish, good morning. Burpin, Levi, Clyde, TC. Lots of familiar faces. Welcome back, everybody. Serge. So, in terms of trading, I wasn't planning on trading today, but there was a setup this morning. SMT on the highs between YM making the higher high, and then also NQES failing to make the higher high, and we can also consider a SMT with a fair value gap, right? So let me just annotate that for you guys. This fair value gap right here, SMT with that fair value gap, and this fair value gap, right? Just like that. I'm just gonna delete these other annotations from yesterday. So far everything is like playing out flawlessly. The only thing is yesterday I wasn't able to participate. I was expecting these highs to be run out and then we drop, but then we ended up just dropping. This morning I wasn't even at my desk, so it kind of just dropped without me as well. So it is what it is sometimes. Who posted the same shit? Right, and so I was drawing your attentions to the opening range gaps. Not opening, sorry. New day or new week. Actually, these are new week opening gaps. Seeing if we were able to disrespect them or respect them, right? Or it actually be drawn like this. Right, so once we disrespected that, you can see like here on NQ, it's a perfect example of when a PD array flips from support to support to resistance, essentially. So that's where you'll find your quote unquote true support and resistance is these PD arrays immediate order flow, right? So trading back into this new week opening gap, we support from it a little bit and then we just plummet from that point. Yeah, but on that note, because this has already happened, I don't think there's much to do because you don't want to chase a large range expansion like this, because generally after a large range expansion what we can expect is some sort of consolidation, and that consolidation is where we don't really want to participate, just because you get chopped up a lot in those, unless you're taking very small time frame scalps. But generally after a large range expansion you will see some sort of consolidation. Sound is too low. Is the sound too low or is it good for you guys. Okay. Uh, okay. For the person that said it's too low, I think you just have to turn up your audio on the lower side. Um, I can turn up my mic volume, but uh, I think it distorts my mic a little bit. Is that better or is that distorting my mic? Okay, sounds good. Beautiful. Once again, nothing much to do here. If you miss the trade opportunity, it's just gonna run without you. That's just how it goes sometimes. You know what I mean? This is what it is. And this trade like occurred at 4 a.m. in the morning. So even if you trade New York AM, like there's no way you would have participated in this unless you're on like a lower time frame or you're like a breakout trader or some sort. And this is where that mentality of FOMO comes in, right? So you guys gotta, you know, understand, understand that another opportunity will come by. So the SMT is between ES and YM. If you look at this fair value gap right here, so this fair value gap, and then look at this fair value gap on YM, right? YM taps into this fair value gap, ES does not. SMT on the fair value gap, and then plummets. Once again, I don't think anyone would have been able to catch this though. It's pretty, you know, it is in the middle of the night or the very early morning. For real, Levi. I'm surprised they didn't do manipulation for April Fools. London always gets the good setups. I get jealous sometimes. Yeah. It'd be like that. Uh, sometimes I look at London, I'm just like, damn, that's a nice setup. And then you just have to realize, like, during New York, you also have very nice setups. It's just like, it's like a 50-50, you know what I mean? It's like teeter-tottering. Like, sometimes London has a very good setup, sometimes New York game has a really good setup. But generally, I like to trade New York game because it has that 9:30 a.m. open and volatility. So that's gonna be about 6 minutes here. Do you ever trade bonds? I do not. RTY. I honestly have not been looking at RTY, but I think like I mean, on RTY, you also have this fair value gap right here. You could use that if you want, but like it's the same thing as YM right here. This fair value gap. So one thing I want you guys to note down is that we had no SMT on the lows. So what does that indicate? Is that it's gonna be a high probability that we're gonna have continuation lower rather than any sort of reversal at this point. Right, and as ICT says himself, he says when there's no SMT, it's most likely going to be a continuation. They're getting sneaky, won't let us participate this week. I mean, sometimes it's just like that. And this is the point where I always tell people it's like I can be right, but it's like I can't make money because I'm just not, I'm not available 24/7 to monitor the markets. It just be like that sometimes. This is why I don't understand what day. Obviously, the highs were SMT, but according to day, not really / a low probability. For me personally, what made a low probability for me yesterday, so I didn't execute, is because I was looking for these highs right here. That's what made a low probability for me. So I didn't execute on this. And then today, I just simply was not at my desk. Yesterday, I was expecting some sort of quick sweep, like a wick up, and then drop. And then that I would have turtle souped that for sure, but because we didn't get that, we just create all this low resistance liquidity right here. That was low probability to my setup. So that's my reasoning. I'm not sure what day's reasoning is. Would you consider move back into internal range liquidity here, like a hourly gap? Yeah, I would be anticipating for something like that. You could honestly, like, what I see immediately here is just like some sort of unicorn model setup here, right? Like if it does that, then you could look for opportunity right there. I think that's valid. Same thing with these markets, right? So if I'm taking a short in a continuation, then I'd be looking for some sort of retracement into a breaker. Kind of messy price action here though, so I don't even know how to do my projections correctly here. Something like that maybe. Standard deviation of Asian manipulation traded through, would you consider that an indication of continuation lower? I don't know. That's something I haven't looked into snows. What was interesting yesterday was the US 100 CFD chart did have equal highs and it did. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like CFD. Here's another thing you guys can do is you have SMT divergence between CFDs and the features chart. That's a thing, but I just don't use it personally. Was more so referring to higher time frame quarters and when SMT at high form today. Obviously has SMT according. I, I mean I don't know. uh in terms of like higher time frame, like you have this massive SMT on this high, so I think that's pretty obvious. Morning, Daniel. I'm on crude oil. Honestly, I haven't looked at crude oil in a fat minute. Let's do that. Oh, let's just use some random chart. Is this a random chart? This is not a random chart. It's my crypto. Let's see. We're gonna use this one. So far, so good. Um, Obviously not for what I want to see for my daily life, but so far so good. I think I need to go to my weekly outlook chart because this is pretty old analysis right here. I'm so disorganized with my chart things. It's kind of annoying. So yeah, so far so good here. I think that is just in the buy side of the curve right now. We go for these highs. I was just telling the Discord in terms of analysis for this is paying attention to this high when we traded into it. Okay, we want to see, are we able to displace above it, or are we just going to reject straight back into the range? If so, then we have all this low resistance liquidity resting below right here. Go for like a quick sweep into that, into this original consolidation low. But ever since we displaced back above this level right here, right, we're just respecting it. Then I'm looking for higher prices. And this fair value gap right here becomes inversion fair value gap, from turns from resistance to support, higher prices on the buy side of the curve. Yeah, I mean, I could watch the open, but it's like, it's nothing interesting to me, because for me to be interested in something, it's, I need a higher time frame PD rate to form my setup idea. Um, Even looking at equities open here, it's like the only thing that would interest me is if price retraces all the way back up here, which is very unlikely. So we're just gonna have to wait for 10 a.m. news, because once 10 a.m. news comes out, this fair value gap is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in this. And then we could potentially look for some sort of sell setup right there. Why that one specifically? Because it's the one with the breaker block, and there's some more advanced theory behind it, but I feel like I don't feel like confusing people, so I'm just gonna say breaker block, unicorn model. I feel like my telegram's being spammed. What's being sent there? Oh yeah, they did have the same analysis as me, I think. At the highs, he had the same analysis. Other than that, I think everything else was the same or different. Sorry. That I feel like that's how you know you're a good teacher though, is when your students are in alignment of your analysis. You're able to transfer that experience. And he also sent an image on the bonds, but I personally don't look at bonds. So that's something I'm gonna have to I guess I have to start using. And by the way, zero FOMO from us. I just want to make that clear. Zero FOMO. I don't care if we displace lower. I don't care if we like start displacing higher. Like just sit on your hands right now and wait for clear price action. Once it becomes extremely obvious to you, then go for it. But for right now, it's you know. And here's a quick study you guys can do. You can look at this fair value gap right here, right? ES filled it. YM created an RDRB, and then NQ failed to fill it. So here's a quick study for you guys. ES5233 changes to delivery. Yes, but once again, we are pretty 5233. Am I looking at the same chart as you? This is a higher time frame. Five two three 3.25. Yeah, this right here, this original consolidation, or not original consolidation, but I'd say it's accumulation phase that we looked from the buy side of the curve, right? That's a good draw on liquidity. And in case you have a little trouble spotting the market maker model, the sell side of the curve right here, like that. So let's go back to that fair value gap we were studying, right? And this is literally exactly the same thing that happened on the 4-hour chart this morning. I'm just annotating it on a more fractal scale for you guys now. Right? Y ES trades into it, and Q fails to trade into it. YM fails to trade back into the RDRB. Yep, fair value gap SMT. Did anybody catch that? So I'm still in the trade right now. Let's see if there's a liquidity target. Possibly this gap right here, this fair value gap on the 4-hour, -2 standard deviations. I think I'd be happy with that if that gets tagged, to be honest. I think this is more so chasing the market right here. Yeah, I wouldn't blindly jump in because the reason I went in is because I annotated this for you guys, right? I was telling you guys to pay attention to this. You don't necessarily have to execute on it, but I want you guys to study this. Paying attention to immediate order flow right now. This fair value gap, I'd like it to hold and see some sort of downside. And then you can pay attention to this on a fractal scale once again, right? I got stopped out. I'm still up like 2 hours, so I'm completely fine with that. What entry model did I use here? Um, to be honest, it was just more so of a discretionary trade. But if you want, it was just higher time frame PD rate, SMT, and lower time frame structure essentially. But this time it's a different kind of SMT. It's SMT with fair value gap. That's the difference. Their higher time free PD rate here would be the 15-minute fair value gap. Wait, I might get stopped out here. So 15-minute fair value gap, SMT with it, and then 1-minute entry. I got stopped over here. 2.41R, not bad. On M1 just discretionary. Yeah, I used the 50% level of this order block right here. Once we traded there, I executed. Let's see how much I did over leverage a little bit here though. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave this here so I can journal it later for you guys. How many instruments do you trade, and is ES and NQ alone sufficient to become profitable? More than enough to be profitable. You just need one market, to be honest. I only trade NQ pretty much, but I just use confluence of other markets. That makes sense. So it's like I'll use the other markets as analysis tools, and then I execute on NQ. So I was kind of lost. What is the significance of that fair value gap? You have SMT with the fair value gap essentially. So here, right, this fair value gap on NQ, it remains untouched. ES, you trade back into it, right? And then here on YM, you create this RDRB that doesn't get traded back into either. Oh wait, sorry, it would be this fair value over here. I'm actually trolling. Sorry, this remains untouched. And then also for those that are in Day's mentorship, there is a precision. I wouldn't say precision swing point, but there is a precision. There's like a similar characteristic to the candle that creates a cracking correlation. So I don't know what that's called, but that's something I've also been paying attention to. So there's a little sum for those that are in Day's mentorship. Because remember what Day said, right? Is when the markets are about to expand, you'll get a lot of cracks in correlation. Market maker models are too confusing for me. How can I improve? Focus on time-based liquidity, because that's where they form, is time-based liquidity. So your previous month high, month low, your previous week high, week low, previous day high, day low, previous uh session high, session low, right? All those different time-based liquidity is where your market maker models will form. So pay attention to those, and you'll find a lot more conviction in your market maker models. When the markets are what equals cracking correlation? When the markets are ready to expand or reverse of some sort, you'll get a lot of cracks in correlation. Uh, and I have the actually, I just go through it. I just go through it really quickly. You just replay it. Now we have news in around 8 minutes. I don't know. I'll see if I trade or not. I feel like I probably won't, just because my risk plan is like, if I take a win, then I'm done for the day. So, but I'll tape read it for you guys. I'll call out when I'm like interested in a specific area. Is the market still symmetrical even if DXY is falling alongside the indices? Once again, I only use DXY as a long-term correlation for index futures, because on the short-term basis, they're not very well correlated, in my opinion. Because like, if I know that DXY is long-term bullish, then I'm expecting index futures to be bearish. Yeah, exactly, Aramis. Yeah, pretty boring so far. 6 more minutes, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now as well, Mark. The only thing I would say though is I already took a win, so I'm probably not gonna execute again just to secure my profits. 'Cause I am more than happy with today's results. Up to R, 2 point something R. Exactly, Hermes. What time did I take a trade? 9:37. I tried market maker model, but for that I want to look at 28 pairs for internal to external range liquidity. Not seeing any consistency. Sometimes it works. But I think market is random. If yes, then am I trading 28? I think first off is 28 pairs is a lot to be looking at. I think you should just focus on either forex or futures. In my opinion, and my recommendation would be futures. So that would be NQESYM, and that's where I put all my focus into personally since day one, and that's why I'm extremely comfortable in, trading index futures. Um, yeah, just focus on one market, in my opinion, AJ. I think that's gonna throw you off if you're trying to focus on 28 pairs. And another thing is internal to external range is you have to understand the uh underlying narrative, right? So it's like your higher time if you're just using a weekly internal to external, that's fine, but your you have to frame your market maker model on a time frame aligned time frame, you know what I mean? So it's like if you're using a weekly internal to external, then you're gonna have to use a 4-hour market maker model. If you're using a daily internal to external, then you're gonna have to use that hourly market maker model. Yeah, exactly, Aramis. That's what I did too. I want to take a look at Forex really quickly. Has our objective been met yet? So far, so good. Just playing out really well, I think. XY met this. We have SMT on the lows. We'll see how that plays. News in 1 minute. Just gonna put this here for my trade journal later. So you can just ignore that. Elevator YouTube song. This is, yeah, actually. All right, this news better give us something interesting. Expecting, I think we might get lower prices from the news event actually. I'm just looking at this RDRB on right. If you want, you can pay attention to this. Another one right here. And then if YM is able to trade back into that, then it's invalidated. I'm just gonna take these screenshots from my journal really quickly. I think that's it, right? Okay. Once again, area of interest right now would be this fair value gap right here. If we're able to trade back into it, it's pretty high up there. So all right, I feel like I missed a lot in the chat. What did I miss? Never mind, I didn't miss that much actually. That's good, Aramis. Possible SMT. I mean, you have a SMT on the lows, but you are trading against the overall, you know, higher time frame narrative. So I'd be a little careful about that. I don't. There's nothing here that like really interests me right now, to be honest. Like if we get a retracement, then I could look for a short. But other than that, there's nothing that really interests me right now. MK, yeah, that is a form of SMT, but once again, higher time frame narrative, right? Or at least that's what I'm looking at. Is like I'm looking at this overall market maker sell model, and that's what I want to see. Then you could see some sort of retracement, maybe look for further downside. I might as well just do my journal right now. There's not much. What are you planning your next YouTube video to be about? I knew of SMT but didn't understand it and the importance of it till I watched your YouTube video. So thanks again. No worries, bro. Yeah, SMT is extremely important in my opinion. Um, I feel like people that say SMT is not good or just distraction stuff like that. I feel like I strongly feel that they just didn't look into SMTs and understand it fully. Because once you understand it, it's like it's actually insane how good it is. As long as it's part of your plan, Aramis, go for it. But I don't like how you said in hopes of continuation. Okay, I'm gonna do my journal really quickly. So I can't see the chat for now, but it'll be very quick. It was like 3 minutes long. What PD arrays you use? I personally use fair value apps for my bias as well as entry. Um, to be honest, I mainly use fair value apps, so I just pay attention to inefficiencies, which is liquidity voids, volume balance, fair value gaps, inefficiencies, and I pay attention to highs and lows mainly. And so, inefficiencies, highs, lows is where majority of my analysis stems from. And then all other PD arrays such as rejection block or actually I've been using rejection block more recently, but all other PD arrays like let's say breaker blocks, mitigation blocks, vacuum blocks, propulsion blocks, all that stuff is for trade management, to be honest. And if I just trade NQ and ES, will I get sufficient setups like one or two? Well, that comes down to what your setup is, right? You have to develop your own setup first, and then through statistics, you have to tell yourself what the answer is, because I can't tell you how many setups you're going to find. You can find an infinite amount of setups if you have a strategy that provides a lot. Then you could have very little if you have a strategy that requires a lot of criteria and you don't always get it right. So in hindsight, would you have put your stop loss higher for a bigger RR? Uh, no. I think this was a good stop loss right here. I couldn't really move it any closer here, in my opinion. I could have used the body of this order block, but I thought that was a little too risky, so I just used that high. After Days Insta live rant about SMD. Yo, I been trying to join his lives, and like when I join his lives, he doesn't talk, and then when I miss his lives, he talks. So it just be like that sometimes. Nice, good shit, Aramis. I mean, just stop from being stopped. Oh, like the trailing stop loss. No, honestly, if I'm completely fine with this, because I would not be willing to endure this right here, like where price went up first. Like this right here is not something I want to be a part of, especially with Apex's trailing stop loss rule. We called the EUGU dump live. That's sick. You're on Apex? Yeah, I'm on Top Step, Apex, and Interactive Brokers. SMT on lows, technically yes, but at the same time, once again, it's I don't know how I feel about such a low time frame SMT. You always want to do your analysis from higher time frame down, right? So it's like 4 hour SMT on the highs. I would then drop down to 15 minute and use, right? So it's like this is what I tell my students is if I have a bias on the higher time frame, then when I drop down to a lower time frame, I am only looking for narrative in that direction of the higher time frame. I'm not looking for narrative in the opposing side ever until the higher time frame tells me we're switching. And that way, it's like even if I'm wrong, then it is what it is. I take a loss, but then I'm on side majority of the time. Nice good shit, Aramis. Right, it's like if on the daily chart you're bullish, or let's say the monthly chart you're bullish, and let's go back to my old weekly reviews where I had that, where I just simply used the monthly chart to frame my bias. And so on my daily chart, I was just bearish from like July 2023 to October, and then bullish from October and so on. For example, or was it November, something like that? It was all it was just on the monthly time frame. I framed internal to external range liquidity, and so I had such a large scale direction, right? That made the daily chart easy to read, essentially. It's always paying attention to your higher time frames first. So this is that original take profit point that I wanted to take. Okay. Anticipated reversal of PM. Yeah, you could look for that. When considering QT, do you view today's PA as manipulation beneath the weekly open? Would you other POI to be met on hard time frames before looking reversal? In terms of quarterly theory, it does look like manipulation, but in terms of the higher time frame narrative, I am still leaning bearish as of right now, waiting for a, if in order to give me some sort of clear reversal here, in my opinion, would be, you know, SMT on a higher time frame, time-based liquidity. Actually, I should leave that there because I'm still looking at that. All right, I just finished my journal. Took a long. Okay, okay. Everybody making money. I'm gonna upload the journal I just did to the Discord now, because I'm not gonna take any more trades today, most likely. So I think at this point with this SMT on the low, I would be considering some sort of long into, you know, a POI I'd be interested in shorting. So it's like possibly we could see price start trading higher back into our area of interest. But yeah, it would be a very, I'd say it's a riskier play, but that's what I'm leaning towards right now, is just waiting for a price to come back up and then down. So we'll have to see if that plays out. Nice, good shit, Daniel. I feel like Aramis and Daniel have been killing it. You guys are actually insane. Mark as well. You guys have been killing it. Yeah, exactly. So this long is like a riskier play. But it's what I have in mind right now, is some sort of retracement. On that note, I think I will call it here for the stream. So thank you guys for coming by, as always. Yeah, and if you haven't joined the free Discord, feel free to join that. Links are in the description. On that note, are there any final questions before I go here? If so, type 1 if you're satisfied with today's stream. Type 2 if you have question and you just need to type it really quickly. I'll give you guys like 10 seconds to kind of type that. Any winners in the chat? All right, on that note, thank you guys all for joining the stream. As always, appreciate you guys. And yeah, also, if you guys haven't signed up for the free monthly newsletter, I believe that the newsletter is going to include more content than just the monthly newsletter or monthly recap. So, feel free to join that. I will be sending out like trade reviews and stuff like that inside the newsletter as well. Maybe some PDFs, we'll see. On that note, have a great day, everybody. And if you are trading, good luck to trading.